work this out on it. I still see potential, to be honest.
You're Johnny Sue, back with another video. So I have a couple new buys today. So I had bought NARS because I really wanted to try the foundation, and as you can see, I beat my face because I was trying to practice. Not only I wanted to like test out the NARS because I haven't had it anywhere where I've worn makeup since I got it, and I also wanted to like practice my eyeshadow, which I think it's a little I don't know. I can never get the cut crease like how I want to. Like I feel like one be a little bit higher than the other. But anyways, yeah. And then I also got All Nighter Urban Decay face primer because I just wanted to see how it would. I just wanted to try a new face primer, and I also needed a new setting spray, which I didn't try, but I did get Urban Decay setting spray. So I just felt like if I'm gonna get a setting spray, I might as well get a primer too. I don't know my logic to it. But anyway, well, first of all, we're gonna go over my face beat. I was trying to contour my nose. Don't really know, I'm still working on that. I've been doing natural beats for like the longest, where like I just put my foundation on, maybe like do a little eyebrow. I can barely put lashes on. Yeah, and then some highlight, you know, little glitter. And that's it. But I really have been trying to do like my contour. Sometimes I get it just right and sometimes I don't. So if you have tips, please let me know. I did hear that because I use a powder for my contour, and I did hear if you're like starting off, you should probably use cream because it's easier to blend, which I did get like kind of a cream one, but I'm scared to use it because it doesn't seem like it would be easier to blend than powder, you know? Anyways, so today we're gonna go over how to buy a house. So as some of you may know, I bought a house a year ago. So I just want to go through a couple things because I feel like people think that they can't do these things. If I can do it, you can do it. Like I've literally had to like grind my way to everything I have achieved. So I think sometimes when people hear you talk on your accomplishments and how proud of yourself that you are, that they think you think that you're better than them. And that's not the case. I just think that everybody has a potential. Whether you live up to your potential is up to you. I got to a point where I was living in an old ass apartment, you know, in the avenues, like the one, I didn't even say it right. I don't fucking know. Anyways, Ricardo's right here. He's up today, right? Right, honey? Yeah, he's up today. So anyways, I just got really tired of living in my apartment. It was old. It wasn't up to date. Mice. It was a mice problem because especially in the avenues, they're like beating mice problems because there's like so much field, I guess, is what a lot of people say. But I feel like the fact that it's an old broken down house does not help. So I just got tired of renting. So how I bought a house. It's a lot easier than people make it seem. So I had reached out to my man's David Pottle. He's a realtor, and he hooked me up with his lender. Now, realtors can work with any lender, but I feel like it's easier to go with a realtor first because then they can point you in a direction to a lender and they already have an established relationship, rather than if you get a lender first and then, you know, you pick a realtor and they don't have no knowledge of each other. It might be a little, you know, trying to get them to connect, communicate. It might be a little shaky rather than someone that already has that rapport with one another. So I had reached out to his lender, which was Alyssa, and she had gave me a website. I put in all my information. She got back to me in a couple days, and she gave me a pre-approval amount. I did not think I was getting a pre-approval amount. I thought she was going to tell me, hey, you need to work on your credit. My credit wasn't low. It was like the high 600s, maybe 670 maybe. But it wasn't high either. Like everybody thinks you have to have an 800 credit score. You have to have a 700 credit score. No. So I got a pre-approval amount. Now, I know there is stipulations when it comes to your job. So I had just gotten my job that is salary. So I didn't have to have 2 years in my field. But I do hear that sometimes you have to have 2 years in your field. You can have different jobs, but it has to be the same field. Like, oh, if you worked at Normandy Ridge and then you go to Colonial Manor, that's still the same field. So as long as you have 2 years. But then there is also a lot of lenders that will work around that. Like there's a lot of things that will that get overlooked. Like, it just depends on who you go with as far as a lender. So I would say don't give up. And if you're looking for pre-approval amounts, you want to do that all within 1 month, because it's just going to come up as like, I don't want to say one pool, but it's easier because you're going to get a whole bunch of pre-approval amounts within 1 month, and it's all going to have the same impact, rather than if you do one in September, one in October, one in November. That's going to affect your credit score a little bit more. So that is another, tip. So she gave me a pre-approval amount, and I'm just like, okay, cool. I still had things I wanted to look at. I wanted to get my pre-approval amount up. So I'm like, okay, I probably have to pay off some of my credit card debt so I can get my pre-approval amount up. And your pre-approval amount is like how much you're allotted to buy a house. So the houses that I was looking for and the pre-approval amount, they wasn't matching up. They wasn't. So this was around COVID. So I also, took advantage of all the assistance I could get. And that's what you got to do. I'm not against working the system, but don't work the system for your whole life. Work your system towards a goal. Like, So, this is when COVID hit, renter's assistance. So I'm pocketing mad money because I don't have to pay rent for like, I don't know if it was like 3 months. I think it might have been 3 months. It was either 3 months or 6 months, but I want to say 3 months. So I'm pocketing this money and I'm just saving it. Mind you, my tax returns from earlier that year, because this was around September. So my tax returns from earlier that year, I just saved that in my, put that in my savings account. And that helps when you have kids, because that was my first big, no, that might have been my second. No, that helps. You get that big old amount. Don't spend it on bullshit. Save it. So that's what I did. I saved it, and then I was able to take advantage of the renter's assistance programs, and I was able to save more money because I'm not having to pay for rent. So then from there, I went to CPC, Community Progress Council, and they have a first-time homebuyers program, which you basically just take the course. It's a weekend course, and they will give you a certificate, which goes towards money towards buying a house. Now, there is different things when it comes to buying a house. Like, there's money down, and then there's closing costs. Now, I thought they was the same fucking thing, but they're not. And I'm not going to go into that because I don't even know why they're not the same fucking thing. Yeah, so, and then different loans have different things. So, like, I had got a USDA loan, and that is basically you have to get it. It has to be an approved area. So, normally USDA loans, people think it's like country, like it has to be in the middle of a fucking farm. No, I'm in Redline and I got a USDA loan. So that's not really what we would have thought of getting, like, being country or in farm, or, you know what I mean? And I think that's because they want to, I don't know, like gear some of the population towards these areas. So with a USDA loan, you don't have to put any money down. But, so that is the good thing with that. So I was able to I picked a house that was in Redline. I was able to get a USDA loan. Let me backtrack. I went and got another pre-approval once I paid down some of my debt. And that took when I paid down my debt, that took my credit to like 700, over 700. So it was just a little bit over. But, that now my APR wasn't that, my interest wasn't that much of a difference, but my pre-approval amount was different. And that was my whole goal. So, which basically, I don't know if I explained this, but like, if you pay down some of your debt, you can put that money towards buying a house, basically. So, because that's not money you have to kick out towards a monthly debt. So that is something I did. And then, so I got another pre-approval. And then I gave her my certificate that I already did by myself. Now, a lot of lenders, realtors will guide you to that, like, oh, this is your first time buying a home, do the home buyers program. They'll guide you towards that. But me, I like to have all my ducks in a row, and I knew it didn't expire for like a couple of years, so I'm like, I might as well just do that because I know I'm going to buy a house within so many years, you know what I mean? So that's what I did. And then and then I started looking. We started looking the process. Dave was amazing. I would send him houses and we would look at it the next day. Like, he was on top of it. And that's because he's really motivated and he knows a little bit about everything. I would say he's a man's man. He's a man's man because he was helping me look at HVAC system. I don't fucking know. I could be lying. I don't know. But he helped me look at the things that you want to look at when you buy a house. And I feel like that is important for a realtor. Now, they're not going to tell you, hey, you shouldn't buy this house, because that's against, I guess, their procedures and their morality. Yeah, we was just looking at houses, and then I found the house that I liked, and we was, I don't know how we got it. I feel like that's another thing that you want in your realtor. You want them to have a gift of the gab. Like, you want them to be like, you want to get that vibe that they could sell you a 1989 Toyota. Like, that's what David gives. And I already knew David gave that because we used to work at Olive Garden together, and he used to serve. And he used to hustle out them tips. He used to hustle. So that is another thing you want to look for when you're looking for a realtor. And yeah, so like there was other bids, you know, they were saying, as a lot of you know, during COVID, there was a lot of bidding going on, and people were getting outbidded, and people were like paying way more than the asking price of the house, just so they can get houses, because, you know, the buyers were up here and the sellers were down here. So it was like a really competitive market. And we beat out a couple offers, and he was even willing to, like, you know, give up some of his commission towards my house. And I just felt as though that was just so, you know, beautiful. And I mean, they don't have to do that, but, you know, some of them will. And that's not just because we have a friendship or whatever, but I have heard of other realtors doing that for their clients, because at the end of the day, a sale is money in their pocket. So if they have to give up a portion, it's still money in their pocket. So yeah. So with that being said, I didn't have to put any money down, but I did have to pay about $4,000 in closing costs. So that's where my savings helped me out at, because you are going to have to pay some type of closing costs most of the time. I would say most of the time. Sometimes you get a check back. I didn't get no check back, but I have heard of it. I think it's kind of rare. But yeah, so that's just what it is. I feel like if you want to do it, you can do it. You got to put your mind to it. Anything I wanted to do, I put my mind to it. And like school, put my mind to it. House, put my mind to it. I say things and then I just do it. Like, I put my actions towards it. It's not about whether you can or you can't. It's whether you have the motivation and the ambition to get what you want done. So I was looking at houses. I want to say I started in October, late October, and I found one early December, and I closed before, like, a couple days before Christmas. And yeah, like, if I can do it, you can do it. Like, I've literally had to get everything out the mud, everything in my name, everything, like cars, insurance. And a lot of people think that doesn't matter, but it does, because at some point you're gonna have to get things in your name, or you're gonna have to continue to rely on people. And growing up with a mother that was very independent and didn't have family, she taught me not to rely on nobody. So those are the words I got for you. It's a real easy process. You can get it done. Inquire about it. Just see where you're at and what you need to work on. And if you want to buy a house, you can buy a house. And I don't really get the mindset. I don't really get the mindset when people say, well, I don't want a house. It's a big responsibility. I mean, I pay more utilities, I guess. But if you're renting a house, you're already going to pay all utilities. I think I've had to get one thing fixed. And that wasn't even my house. That was like my dryer that came with the house. So I be feeling like it's worth it. You thinking like, oh, okay, well, what if you move on? What if you want to move out the state? This isn't where you want to always be. I already had it in my mindset. I don't want to live in this crummy ass apartment, and I don't want to pay triple or quadruple for somebody else's place. And I just rather get my own shit. And then if the time comes where I want to move, or I get me a husband and we get a place, then it's going to be a rental property. And there goes another income, because that's already been something I was thinking about. Like, well, shit, I can do that as a rental. Like, and then I'm either going to make an income or it's going to pay for itself regardless. So I don't know. You just got to look at things in a different perspective and just grind that shit out. Because if I can do it, you could do it. Peace.
But we get above and way beyond that.